Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mark with Spiguyver Backpacking. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm out here to show you this new stove that I've got. So I got this stove from DutchwareGear.com. However, it is a stove by Batchstovez. You guys have seen me review and talk a lot about Sam's stuff. Sam at Batchstovez makes a lot of aluminum components that are really cool, really innovative, and good replacement items for things like the Foster's pot. He does baking sets. He does a lot of different things that he turns. Really, he comes with a stock disc of aluminum and turns it into pots and bowls and lots of other cool stuff. But this is one of his stoves. Now this one looks a lot like the Mini Atomic or some of the others that are out there with the internal burners. So it's going to do almost like an atomic blast type flame pattern, which is where the Mini Atomic comes from. The difference is on this one he has a ring that he's inserted. He uses the heavier gauge aluminum bottles and not the aluminum cans, and then has a CNC done aluminum ring that holds these aluminum pieces, which become an integrated pot stand. So this one actually has an integrated pot stand. So let's take a closer look at this thing. Let's go. Okay, so here you can see the holes around it. It has 8 burner holes, and then it has the thumb screw right in the middle, which you can unscrew to fill. Along the outside, it has fiberglass wicking, and that is to get this thing going. It is to prime it, so it doesn't have a priming pan or anything like that. It has this wicking, which you wet with your alcohol. I use the yellow bottle heat. But then it's got these integrated pot stands, and so I can set a pot on here and it's nice and stable. I mean, really stable, because they also come out on the bottom, so nothing's going to tip over, which is what I really like about it. Still really light. Weight will be right down here for you, but nice and light, stable platform, refillable. It's got this CNC'd piece that holds it. And then the cool thing is, if you look real close, where these legs go, it actually has indentations so that they fit into place and lock where they're supposed to. And once they're there and they lock into place, they're not going to move around. So you just turn them till they get there, push them down, and now everything is locked in, ready to go. All right, so I want to show the flame pattern of this. So right now I've got it filled up with a little bit of fuel. It's a little bit darker out, so hopefully now you can actually see the flames, and I'm gonna light it. I've got the fiberglass wicking wet, so here we go. Okay, now you can see it spread around.
That's cool.
In about 20 seconds it should bloom. And it'll be a nice blue flame.
Dang, that's hot.
So it's starting to bloom. You can see inside a little bit of that starting to go. I'm just gonna set this over here to kind of block the wind just slightly. And now you can see how it blooms and it comes together. If I was to set my pot on here, let me get a little bit of water in the pot just so that I'm not hurting my pot at all. Get this back out of here. There you can see, if I've got this around it, it's going to keep it in there. But I can set this on there, and it is very stable. You know, I can bump it, it's not going anywhere. Move this around, it's not tipping over, which is something I really like. So there's that flame pattern.
That's really cool flames.
Well, good morning. So I'm out here got some water on right now. I've got the smaller pot, my Toke's 550 milliliter light, which is my favorite backpacking pot. The other one that I've got is the 700 milliliter light, and it's got the wider base, and so it does take the heat a little bit better, and actually will boil most times a little bit quicker, just because it spreads that flame pattern out across the base and makes better use of it. But I've got this one for today, along with some G7 coffee. If you guys haven't tried this is some good stuff. Packaged Gourmet sells it. You can also get it off of Amazon. You can get like cases of it off of Amazon, which is, I think, where I'll be getting it next, because it's a little bit cheaper that way. Okay, we're gonna do a little head-to-head right here. We're gonna go Fancy Feast versus Batchstovez IS 2.0. What we're gonna do is 3/4 of an ounce in each one. We're gonna go 16.9, so a full bottle of water into each of these pots. We're gonna do the 700 on the IS, the 550 on the Fancy Feast. So let's get this thing set up and let's do it. Fueled up, both stoves are primed and ready to go. Both pots are full. This one is almost full to the brim. We're definitely gonna know when that one's boiling. This one's not quite as full. So it's not an apples to apples comparison per se, but I just want to get this going. So let's do this. Both are lit. I'm going to give about 15-20 seconds, just letting these things run before I even put the pots on there, just because this one's not going right now. There we go. She's definitely going now. She's to a full bloom. That one feels like it's going good, so let's go ahead and get these things going. Now, nice calm day today. Very few of those around here, so we're not going to go with any wind screen at all. We're just going to let this go and see what happens. Let's see. There's a couple reasons that I'm doing this. So these are, right now, 2 of the front runner stoves for what I will be taking with me pretty much on all backpacking trips from here on out. The Fancy Feast is kind of the staple. Everyone loves it. I haven't been 100% sold on it. This Batchstovez one is a new addition to me. So it's one that I'm testing out and trying out. And really, I just like to watch water boil. You know, how many of us really miss Hiram Cook? You know, he was doing all those videos, boiling water all the time. This one's got some bubbles in there. This one's not quite as far along. Now, like I said before, not super scientific, not an apples to apples comparison. The base of this pot is much wider than the base of this pot. Additionally, one of the things Hiram pointed out was the sweet spot is 1 inch. This one is pretty much a 1 inch gap from the burner to the bottom of the pot, whereas this one is about a 1/2 inch. So, people have pointed out before that the Fancy Feast from Zelf is not quite that 1 inch, so it isn't quite the sweet spot, not as efficient, not as good burner as it could be, but it's compact, people love it. I haven't had any real problems with it, it's just I haven't been completely sold on it because it has not lit quite the way that other people have shown that it lights. You know, Shug uses it all the time on his videos. He pours the fuel in, lights the outside, and it spreads perfect. Mine almost never works that way. And when I do get it to light, a lot of times I get a poof when the vaporized fuel in the inside comes out through the ports. Once it builds up enough pressure, comes out through the 2 ports that are there, I get a pretty good poof. To the point where if I have a small amount of water in my pot, I've actually had it almost knock my pot off. Lots of heat coming off of these stoves. We'll keep them going. Okay, so development. This one came almost to a boil. Lots of bubbles in here. Extremely, extremely hot. Like, just on the verge of a boil. However, did not come to a boil. And the stove, you see I put my fingers in here. The stove is out. This one is still burning. Water is definitely getting warmer. Not quite to a boil yet. Not as many bubbles inside. This one still has many more bubbles. Let's take a look. I'll show you. So you can see the amount of bubbles that are in there, even after this has been sitting for a couple of minutes off. And then here we have this one. We've got some bubbles on the outside. You can see the swirls there as the water is warming up, but no boil as of yet. However, this stove is still going, whereas this one's out. So right now I can hear the Fancy Feast dying out. No boil. Not as many bubbles, but still a good amount of bubbles in there. Definitely hot water. Hotter than I would need for coffee, that's for sure. Both of these were 16.9 ounces of water, so a little over 2 cups with 3/4 of an ounce of yellow bottle heat. Neither one of them were able to come to a boil. This one was faster. This one lasted longer. I don't know. Kind of a toss-up at this point. So the Batchstovez IS 2.0. Integrated pot stand is where the IS comes from, and that's what these foldable, lockable arms are. Folds up pretty well. Fits down into either my 700 or my 550 pretty nicely. Stows away. I can actually add some other stuff in there. The windscreen, the measuring cup, and a lighter will fit in either the 550 or the 700 with no problem. Lightweight at about 1.5 ounces, 45-ish grams, as we showed before. I used it last night for 2 dinners. I used it for boiling some water this morning. I used it for coffee and a little bit of testing. So far, I actually really like it. I like how stable it is. That is one of the things that led me away from my normal Spiguyver stove, is the instability that it presented. This, with these legs that come out and lock in place, creates a very nice wide pot stand, or a nice wide base, so that it does not tip over very easily. The pot stand is nice. The size of this, actually, if you were to get the little soda can stove kit that Batchstovez sells, it fits perfectly in this inner part of this and sits on there perfect. Just another little added benefit, little thing with it. If you guys are interested in seeing more about this stove, go check out either Batchstovez.com or DutchwareGear.com, and you can order it from Dutchware Gear now. That's where it's sold exclusively at this point. I'm going to continue using this. I think I'm going to get it out on the trail with me a couple of times and get some real-world experience. I know out here, doing a little bit of car camping, that is some good experience. It's the same way I'm going to use it out on the trail, but I'm not going to have this bench, this nice hard surface to do it on. It's going to be down in the dirt. So we'll get some real testing and see how it goes. But so far, I like it a lot. You know, right now I'm kind of between this and the Fancy Feast, as I showed a little while ago. Anyway, guys, if you're interested, go check it out. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. As always, if you have any comments, leave them down below. If you haven't done so before, subscribe to the channel, like, share, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate the support. And if you want some Spiguyver swag, down below in the information section is the link to where you can pick up your t-shirts or hoodies. And coming soon, stickers will be available as well. I will see you guys down the trail. Thanks.